Hello teacups, what's brewing? We're back with Chantal and today we're doing the WOW live stream that I have cut down to just over 10 minutes, but no doubt I will talk. There was another live stream before this that only lasted 4 minutes called Messy Life Decent Makeup, I believe. As with so many areas of her life, I would say that statement is at best half true, but basically all you need to know is she came on, she appeared not entirely in control of the faculties, and she was drinking a Grey Goose and cranberry. Her phone died, she didn't come back for about 8 hours. This was streamed about 8 hours after. A relevant point to make would be the first stream happened about 3:30 her time, and later in this stream she confirms it's about 11:30 her time PM. So that will be relevant to one of the threads of conversation I want to pick up later, so just keep that timeline in mind, okay? Alright, let's get started.
Well, yeah, I look so much brighter. Oh my god, yeah.
No, she doesn't. She looks ingrained. You guys, she slept in this makeup. She tells us she napped in this makeup. Of course, I've timed this the call to prayer because I never think about it. We're good, we're fine, we're moving on. So much glitter everywhere. When she put it on, like, she does her eyeliner fine. Yeah, she does. She does it nice and sharp. But even when she put it on, in the 4 minutes, like, her glitter was down here.
I've seen a playback of, like, how it was it earlier? No, yesterday.
No idea as to a
last
timeline.
night. Oh my god. I was just so, like, sleepy and out of it. Just like, I'm like, no wonder people think I'm on something.
I wish she would stop using sleepy as the explanation. There is nothing natural like sleep explaining the state she is in. Yes, she's feeling lethargic because quite aside from any kind of chemicals in her body, she has been sleeping a lot, and you do get that kind of grogginess from doing that. But to blame this on sleep in any way, no, it's not sleep. Please stop assigning it to sleep. And the fact that she feels the need to mention it, that kind of hang a lantern on it, like, if something is true, you don't feel the need to point it out. It's just a fact of being. And she does this a couple of times in this live when she really makes a point of being like, no, it's so low, I looked so bad. No, I understand why people think it. It's like when she was going, oh no, my pupils are so, look guys, my pupils are so big, I don't understand why. You don't need to work so hard when something doesn't need to be said, you know?
Like, it looked like I was just like I'm just seriously so, just smoking too much, guys.
Yeah, she is. I don't know what else she's on. Yeah, a lot of people are saying you don't get to this stage even with large amounts of cannabis or large amounts of THC or whatever she's claiming to be on. And she does work hard to say very, oh, it's only that, in the way that you don't really need to worry about if you're not lying.
Hi, Karen Green. It was earlier today. Oh my god.
Yeah, she doesn't remember her own timeline. It's hard to follow, but this is her life, and her days and nights, they all run in. But like I said, 3:30 was the short life we got before her phone died. About 11:30 PM is when this is going on, or it finishes somewhat close to 11:30 PM, so not that long between them.
Oh no, I just had one drink. Like, I just have this bottle of Grey Goose, and I don't know, I don't even really like drinking, but I was craving like a cranberry and vodka. No, I think it was last night. Was it? My phone is full. Yeah, it's taking forever though. Something wrong with it. I was like, oh, time for a nap. Okay, so that timeline we're talking about, again, relevant in a bit. So at 3:30 her phone died. It was charging a bit slower than she thought, and she went and slept. She's told us her naps tend to be 4 or 5 hours. But even if we're generous and we say 2, there hasn't been a lot of time between then and now. I had a nap today. I didn't just wake up, Bailey's, but
yeah, she's
felt groggy for sure. I had a nap and smoked one, of course.
Yeah, smoked one, of course. So she's letting us know she did it. We know, but she's letting us know. Confirming.
So now I'm even more groggy. I can't find my stand for my phone for my videos and things.
So of course you can't do them. Can't possibly buy some more tap for our house.
So, and I know I have to see all the dishes back there.
Oh yeah.
I have to keep myself busy with that. That's what happens when you cook.
It's an odd turn of phrase. I have to keep myself busy with that.
Have I gotten out of the house? Went for a drive, for some errands, but nothing interesting.
So here's my question, and we're going to get into more of the reasons in a moment. But she went for a drive, but when she got on at 3:30, she was drinking an alcoholic drink and appeared to be under the influence. Now, she had some errands to run. It was 3:30, so any errands you might do during the work day, if the phone was charging, she wouldn't have gone out without her phone. She does have other phones, but she wouldn't have gone out without her phone being charged. So she went to sleep first. So even if we say a couple of hours for a nap, when then working on 6:30, and she's smoked that day, assuming she's done nothing else, and she's had an alcoholic drink, she won't have gotten an Uber to go and do her errands, whatever her errands were. I'm not comfortable with the idea of her being behind a wheel, even if, I'm not saying she was drunk, I'm not saying she was high, I'm saying she had the stuff in her system, and with the amount of stuff, even if we were to take completely at face value that it was only THC, which I'm getting more and more suspicious of as she comes on completely wrecked and makes a point of insisting it was, I'm not okay with the idea of her being behind a wheel here. Do I know the state she was in when she went to do her errands? No, I don't. Am I saying she was definitely incapable, incapacitated? No, I'm not. But impaired to an extent, I feel like it would have been unavoidable because of the amount she's had in her system the last week. And she took a drink as well. And like I said, one drink is not drunk, but I'm not okay with it.
Nothing interesting. Nothing interesting that I can talk about. Stuff that I am talking about with you guys is stuff I can talk about with you guys.
Okay, so here's another thing. This mysterious set of errands she did. Like, if you don't want to talk about it, don't talk about it. This is the equivalent of vague tweeting. Oh, guys, something so terrible has been, I've just been going through so much. Honey, what's the matter? Can we help you? Oh, I don't want to talk about it. Then why the fuck you posting? Yeah, it really irritates me generally in life with everyone, but this, guys, I've got to have some privacy. No, I can't talk about it. Because she has said before in other circumstances, when she was telling stories about Dom, when she was like, I want you to want it. I want you to be like, come on, come on. It's the same thing. She may or may not tell us. I'm leaning towards may because that's what she always does. But in this moment, she just wants to build up anticipation. She wants people to want it.
Everything else is my love. It's my love. Gonna live with pizza. I'm not sure, Flora. We're gonna be moving just cause like there's different reasons, but number one, I don't know, like we probably will be doxxed right away anyways when we move, but I don't know, people know where we live, so we probably should move.
People have known for a long time where she lives, and thus far nothing amazingly terrible has happened, but yeah, you'll probably get doxxed right away. You know why? Because you are not careful with your internet security. She always equates moving to change when she's the thing that needs to change and she's the one moving. But if you move somewhere and it's fresh, great. But you're the one leaking the information that's leading to where you move. So stop doing that and it'll stop happening. But separate to that conversation and the danger of doxing and all of that, she claims, whether you believe it was them or not, that the housing management people came and said, you know, we can move you to somewhere else. But they've had a conversation with her. So whether this is a voluntary move or not, we don't know. she's framing it very much as a voluntary move. It might be. Management is aware of her to some extent. What that conversation has been, we don't know. Chantal claims it was an offer to move somewhere else, but if she's looking, she's clearly not planning to take up that offer, which makes me think maybe that wasn't the conversation they had, but we don't know. She doesn't seem overly keen on the move. She's rolling her eyes right now as well. And the talk about her and Pete, so we'll get to it now.
I don't really care. I'm lazy. And we have such a great friendship. We're also adults, and we enable each other with a lot of things, you know. In my case, like doing every single thing for him.
My question was going to be, what exactly does she enable in Pete's? He's a bit of an overgrown man-child. Like, well, let's just call a spade a spade. He is an overgrown man-child. But if she wasn't there, yes, he might have to live in somewhat reduced circumstances, because she apparently pays a fair amount of the rent because she chose the place they lived. But he could manage on his own. He could get an Uber to go get his groceries. He could move closer to a grocery store, which is probably what he'd do. He'd probably find somewhere close to his beloved comic store and somewhere he could get groceries, and he'd walk, or he'd live near a bus stop. Like, he could do the things he needed to do if he had to do them. Would he have a particularly expansive life? Probably not. But her occasionally cooking, or her sometimes forgetting to, but adding a meal to what she's ordering anyway, isn't really her doing everything for him. And when she's fucked off to go sleep with somebody or take some more drugs or go somewhere out overnight, he's looked after the cats and then he's looked after himself. So what she thinks she's enabling in him, I'm not entirely sure. I think she needs him a lot more than he needs her.
And then him with, you know,
your entire life.
Same thing.
Not same thing. Him, in terms of enabling, is he handing her the drug? No. But is he laughing with her when she does it? Is he not intervening or having a conversation that I would have as a friend that cared whether you died or not? If I were in your real life, and I'm saying that, I'm not about to go stalking her or anything, but were I in Pete's position, I would be having a different point of view than he seems to have. And he's not doing that. So he's not intervening. Whether you can call it enabling or not, I'm not sure. But again, he does do a lot of stuff around the house that you seem unwilling or incapable of doing. He does go up and down those stairs that you complain about a lot. He goes and collects the stuff from the door. You could technically do that, so whether you count that as enabling or not, I don't know. But again, she needs him a lot more than he needs her.
So it might be healthier for us to be apart from each other. We shouldn't live alone with your addiction.
Yeah. I don't disagree with the fact that they'd probably be healthier separately. Like, I don't think, as much as I'm kind of defending this, I don't think they make a great pairing. But not necessarily for the reason she's talking about. I did just talk over that, so the thing she's reading out now just says, I don't think you should live alone with your addiction. So apologies for talking over that.
And I know, it's so tempting to just do what you want when you're alone. Living your own little world. That's what I feel like doing. But I know, I don't mean like with substance use or anything like that.
I do think she means with that, but in general as well, if you were to take the substances out, if you wanted to do that, she still would just like to live a life where there's no repercussions. And part of repercussions are, you know, people inquiring or people being like, hey, what are you doing? To have no responsibility in life, and she enjoys that. I think she more or less gets that even with Pete though. And this is what I was talking about when I said, you know, if you could talk about enabling, he doesn't disable her behavior, I suppose, but she gets pretty much that with him. Like, we've seen her pants on the floor because she's walking around in her underwear or not. We've seen her lying naked or part naked on her bed with the door open, and telling stories about Pete seeing all the things. And yes, they used to be together, but it's been a long time since then. There are very few boundaries between them that I think are stopping her from doing anything other than maybe in her head. But they are very comfortable with each other. But yeah, there'd be no one else. At no point would she have to be like, oh, I suppose I should also order Pete something. I suppose I should make an extra portion of this, you know? But it's a very minimal amount of effort she has to put in there.
But being alone, there's just something, I don't know, get a small studio. No stairs, I'm sick of these fucking things.
That doesn't surprise me.
Honestly, I know it's lazy, but, you know, if I get a twisty misty at the door, I have to hike.
I mean, most of the time she sends Pete talking about things he does for her. We've seen her at her chair in her room and being like, Pete, go get the stuff, and him bringing the bag. So I guess if you want to argue enabling there, but she can physically do it. She doesn't want to. It doesn't surprise me. I think one level, there are two arguments over one level. If she got a smaller place and it was easier for her to move around, theoretically she would then move around, which might be an improvement because she wouldn't station herself in one place because everything would be within easy reach. Theoretically, that would be better, I guess, but at the same time, she's not going to reduce the amount of crap and trash that comes into our house because she wouldn't reduce the amount she was eating and ordering, and she wouldn't reduce the amount she got in shopping. So if she got a smaller if she got a smaller place, apologies, it would just fill up faster. You know, theoretically it'd be easier to keep clean, but with the amount of crap she has, probably not.
From my room all the way down, back up. Yeah, my other live stream, someone was reacting to it and there was like a moment where I'm just like...
Yeah, there was. Who was reacting to it? You don't watch reaction channels. We had this conversation recently. You don't know what's going on reaction channels. You don't watch them. You have no idea what people are saying about them. So who are you watching? How did it look so bad? Interesting.
So plain cheeseburgers, I'm going to see them, hopefully, in February. No, I still have most of the bottle left. I seriously just had a drink. People are like, why is she drinking in the middle of the day?
Valid question.
People drink in the middle of the day all the time when they go out for dinner or lunch or just have a drink at home. Like, I never have a drink.
Well, that would be why people are questioning it then, wouldn't it? Like, again, you're defending it pretty hard, but probably because the question is coming through. We haven't seen her showcase alcohol on her channel frequently. We saw it a little bit at New Year's, but it's not something she frequently shows us. So of course it's going to cause a question, because then we sit here like, hey, do you remember that liver disease you have? Drinking seems like a really bad thing to add to your repertoire at the moment. Like, if you're claiming it's not something you like very much, you don't do it often, why do you need to do it? Why are you adding it now with all the other stuff? Why add it now? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, why would you do this? And that's naturally going to lead to a lot of questions. So don't be too shocked over that. The fact that it is a surprise. You know, people drink all the time. Yeah, someone goes and have a mimosa with brunch, but you don't. So yes, it's a question. Why were you at home at 3:30 in the afternoon with no special event drinking vodka in your kitchen? It seemed odd.
And I have to choose to live with my boyfriend and get a bachelor pad. I would say with your boyfriend if you feel comfortable.
I would never say that. Like, I want my own fucking space, but that's me.
And it's moving in that direction, because, like, I know for me, I can't live with anybody other than a lover. Like,
I can believe that. Now, Pete's is an interesting addition to that, because Pete's was an ex-lover, though. So it counts, because I think the reason she feels that way is she gets to a point of, let's say, unhealthy comfort with people. Once she starts like seeing them regularly and having sex and stuff, like the boundaries come down quite hard. And you remember when she was seeing Dom and how hard she was working to maintain the appearance? And then she had that time where she just went over, no makeup, no nothing. Like, after a certain amount of time, she gets to stop faking it. And she couldn't maintain the illusion if they lived together, because there's no way she's going to put that amount of effort in 24/7. So I think that's why she can't live with anyone except people she's been intimate with, because then she can physically and metaphorically let it all hang out and not feel like she should be embarrassed by anything. And that's the level I think her and Pete are at, even though they're no longer in an intimate relationship. They are unhealthily comfortable with each other in a way that I don't always appreciate, but that's what's going on there, I think.
I can't believe I'm going to see the weekend. Oh, I haven't picked seats yet. I want to, like, imagine I get VIP. Can you buy VIP for like 1,000 or something? And then you get to meet the weekend?
Isn't it funny how her crippling anxiety that causes her to need to self-medicate to the extent she claims to need it allows her to go and book tickets and see bands and meet bands, like backstage. Like, if I really, you know, people who go up and ask for autographs, and this might just be a me thing, I would never do that. I'd be excited to see somebody on the street, but I'd be like, oh, they don't want to be bothered. Like, I'm not going to bother them on the street. They're living their life, man. But I'm excited to see them. Like, if I had high anxiety, I think I'd be nervous meeting somebody that I admired. I'm surprised her anxiety, being as serious as she claims it to be, is allowing her to do that. But I'm not a mental health care professional, and I don't work with it, so we'll just leave that there, shall we?
Show him your singing. No, show him your boobs.
I'm so anxious, you guys.
What happened to my makeup? It's still on, sort of.
She slept in it. Her poor pillowcase. Her makeup has been killing me. Guys, her makeup's been killing me this entire life. Here's the thing, and I know I go on spiels about makeup, I know. But she wears eyeliner, she sometimes wears false lashes, she wears a lot of mascara, and she wears chunky ass glitter. Like, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to sleep in it. It gets ingrained. No wonder she's always picking at her eye. Like, I wear quite long wearing makeup because I live in a very hot country. So I do primer, I do powder, I do setting spray, I do waterproof. Like, my mascara is waterproof. And that means I have to go pretty serious business when it comes to taking my makeup off. And even when I do, I have like an oil to break down my mascara particularly, because that likes to stick around after I've taken my eye makeup off. I can wake up in the morning and be like, oh, because the stuff that's in the very base will still be there, and I'll have to do it again in the morning. But I do that because I care. Like, she's so covered in her eye makeup right here. Like, her pillow's gonna be dirty. It's so terrible for her skin. Like, it doesn't look comfortable at all.
Like, glitter runs everywhere, so I gotta use tape after.
Tape is not a replacement for washing and cleansing. Please do that. And then if there's any stubborn bits, because like I said, glitter is the herpes of makeup. Like, if there's any stubborn bits, go in with the tape if you need to, but it's not a replacement. Please clean your face.
Oh, this is just from laying on it. No, I'm not trying to numb my pain anymore. Oh yeah, it is gonna be very painful.
Okay, alright. Can I preface this with, I realize how optimistic I'm being, alright? I know I don't know much about the whole drug situation type thing. And I know that I have a tendency to give too much credit rather than too little. I get it. I get it's me. It happens. Yeah? Here's a possible idea that would make me happier, because potentially it would mean she hadn't gotten behind the wheel. What if the errand she had to do was her uncle going with her to an NA meeting? Hear me out. Here's my thought process behind that. She doesn't want to talk about it. If the errand had been groceries or something else she was doing, she would have talked about it. If it had been Montreal or buying drugs and she'd had to go to Montreal, she probably wouldn't have been back in time. She wouldn't have gone looking like that. She'd be more put together. Like, there's a lot of things going on. I mean, she did go, her makeup was a mess. Maybe she napped afterwards, which is terrifying for the thought of getting in the car. I don't quite know. That's why I'm trying to figure out the timeline. But her uncle said they were going to go to NA meetings together. I remember that from a week ago. She can't erase and rewind everything with her family. Like, this is something she can't just back down from. I could see her family saying, no, you have to go. I could see her, she said she'd signed up for the online counselling. I don't think she's done anything with it since, but she listened to a couple of things. I think potentially, and grain of salt, because what information do I have that everyone else doesn't? None. Potentially, those things she listened to maybe triggered a nerve. She's not working with any kind of therapist, so that sent her into a tailspin anyway, because she's got no coping mechanisms when things hurt except for this. And she may potentially have known the NA meeting was coming up, which was also sending her into a bit of a spiral. It would also explain potentially why maybe the family haven't been on the scene, because they were planning to check in at this point. She drank at 3:30, she went out somewhere mysterious. She's talking about keeping herself busy with household chores. I'm not numbing my pain anymore. It sounds kind of therapy talk, but she's not going to therapy, I don't think. And it happened after usual business hours were finished, and is something she can't really talk about. And potentially that could be an explanation. Whether it is or isn't, as I said, I realise it's optimistic. I think this mystery thing was an extreme one way or the other. Either she was getting more stuff, or she was going to a meeting that she really didn't want to be with, really didn't want to be in. Potentially with a family member who might have drove her, which would be lovely, because then she wouldn't be in this state on the road. Maybe, please let that. I realise it's a best case scenario, okay, but I'm going with it. I hope that was what happened.
Definitely want to stop eating as much. Gotta go back to the stuff. I'm just don't come for me.
I will 100% fucking come for you. What are you doing? The fuck are you saying right now? Yes, it's too soon. Bearing in mind, I'm not convinced you're off the stuff, whatever the stuff may be. You may be on different stuff, but you are not clean. You are not, let's say, sober. I realise that's more alcohol and she may have only had one drink. You've got something in you, and you've had something in you for a week. Joking about going back to cocaine at this point? No, sweetheart, I don't think so. And you didn't have to make that joke, and you chose to do it. Yeah, this is not the part of the conversation you are in right now. This is not, it will never be funny, but we're not there.
I had to make that joke. I know
no,
it's not
you
funny.
didn't.
I'm kidding. Too soon, right? Okay, I'm an asshole.
Yes, she is. And also, notice at this point, her trying to turn the conversation to food. Like, that's deliberate.
You guys are awesome, and I appreciate your concern.
You never fucking appreciate anyone's concern. You want everyone to shut up and say, what a great idea, drink some more.
Okay. Chasing down every temporary highway.
Yep.
Chasing the dragon, is that what they call it?
That's what they call heroin use, or at least they did in Hong Kong in the 50s. But according to you, you're only on THC. You've been very, very careful to insist it's only been cannabis. Is that something you want to tell us? Because that's not the term they use for the drugs you're claiming to be on.
Oh, bro. I don't know. I could be wrong.
You could be right.
I watched up until the intervention, and then the intervention just fucking bored.
How utterly suitable is it for her entire state of mind that she watches intervention right up to the point where they do something positive with the life and then she's not interested? So you watch people doing drugs then? Is that what you're telling us? Jesus Christ. How fitting. I watch until the intervention and then it's just fucking boring. Right, no self-awareness there at all. Do you remember as well, she says, and she's told us, like when she's on a diet, she'll watch My 600 Pound Life for kind of inspiration to be like, this is what could happen to you. When she wanted to go vegan, she used to watch videos of animals being killed, like abattoirs and things, to kind of convince her this was terrible. And when she doesn't want to do drugs, or she knows she's under pressure to stop, she watches intervention but can't be bothered to watch the part where they actually intervene. Right.
It bores me. Yeah, addiction is, it's no joke. Like, it's not.
And yet you just made a joke about it. Wasn't it really funny, guys? Oh no, I'm kidding. Don't come for me.
People will do some things.
But don't worry, guys. She's not one of those addicts. Well, not yet. She's not one of those addicts yet. You were scared enough that you were crying on camera saying you got a coke habit, you couldn't afford it. You were scared enough in the ER. You were scared enough to tell your entire family. And tell us kind of the money you've been blowing on it, which I don't think you can sustain at all, and you've admitted you can't sustain. But you're not one of those addicts. You'll never get to the point where you do something you never thought you would do to get a hit. Yet.
I don't want to go somewhere where they take all your shit. Like, you can't have your phone. I don't know, like, does that not just seem to, like, make psychosis worse?
You know fucking nothing about psychosis. Jesus fucking Christ. I don't think in inpatient care their primary concern is you relaxing. It's not a spa. You're not checking in for a holiday. Yeah, I don't think your relaxation is their priority. I think they have other priorities, and taking you away from your phone, particularly in her case with the talk about social media, but having you cut off from any sources of anything, from any enablers, from any people who might negatively influence you, having you only focus on what you need to focus on is part of those programs. I don't want to go somewhere I might be a little bit uncomfortable. It'll be boring. Well, how about you focus on improving yourself and do something with the fucking time?
I know people, you need to have relaxation, but...
No, it's not about relaxation, my darling. It's not a spa.
Actually, yes, because social media is not a good environment when you're trying to heal.
And yet here we are on the YouTube channel. No, it's not. In anyone's case, social media is a difficult thing to balance. In hers, oh, it's so intertwined with everything. And yet, here we are.
I don't think that stops people. Let's just all conclude that.
Let's not.
I don't think threatening death is going to stop people.
I don't think it's stopping you. I think you're determined to die on camera making your own choices. I think you're determined to do that at some point. But it does usually stop people in general. And in fact, the majority of people who change, here's the thing, there are some people who never change. Everyone's capable of it, but there's some people who never do it. Yeah? Who are never willing to engage in the things that will allow them to change. But for a lot of people that do, death is the point that gets them going, because they failed and they failed and they failed, or they failed to recognize that it's that important because they'll always have time. I know it's an issue, but I'll deal with it later. And then a thing happens that makes them go, wow, I want to be here for my kids, and there's a chance I won't be. Wow, that could have gone the other way, and there's a chance that I wouldn't be here right now. The immediate threat of death, the threat of death becoming more real than this could happen to you, you're at high risk for something, is frequently a very strong motivator to people who didn't think they were capable of change in a lot of ways. So see, let's all agree, let's not, because you're completely wrong.
Please stop messaging my fucking family.
Please stop killing yourself on live so people feel they need to.
They know my life more than you.
I don't think that's true, actually. I don't think that's true, because yes, you told them stuff, but you spend a lot more time with us than you spend with your family, and you spend it in a much more inebriated state, I would guess, than you do with your family. You maintain the facade more with your family than you do with us. You're willing to do so because they're real And as much as we impact her life, we're not. So I don't think that's true at all. I think we know her way better in some ways, not in every way, than her family does, because we see most things and her family only see her infrequently and through the filter of whatever Chantal can maintain that day. They know her better in terms of her youth and how she's grown up, but Chantal here right now and her habits and her destructive nature, we see a lot more of that than her family does.
People message my entire family.
Yeah. That being said, I doubt the messages they're getting are of a positive or helpful nature in a lot of cases. So yeah, the internet versus real life line is something that shouldn't be crossed as readily as it is.
I'm pretty good right now. I gotta stop eating it all. My only problem right now.
It's absolutely not your only problem right now. However, wouldn't it be nice, guys, did you know eating is my only problem right now? No, I'm really worried about my weight. How about you all get outraged by the fact that I've just said eating is my only problem, and let's focus on my food intake so that we don't have to continue this conversation with drugs. Let me just distract you with something shiny for a second. Interesting. Also, something I think we're going to see in the next few days, I think we're going to see a lot more food on screen. I think we're going to see a lot more talk about her weight and her binge eating and her eating disorder, which she does mention in a second, because that's where she wants the narrative to go.
There's always something, you know?
Oh, multiple somethings.
I'm so afraid to weigh myself. I'm eating like a... I don't want to say derogatory comments, but I'm trying to also still do eating disorder shit recovery.
I wouldn't say you're in any type of recovery right now. I wouldn't say that. I think you've got the potential to go into it, but I wouldn't say you're there.
No, it is 11:30, so 5 minutes.
So that's the confirmation of the time, 11:30.
I'm in the middle of something I want to do. Why are you guys?
More vague tweeting.
I knew, like, they're gonna think something's wrong.
Yeah, rightly so. The last time you were vague about something, you did coke and you started on a lot of drugs. So yeah, there are questions. And given the nature of the last few months, of course there are questions. She does mention in a minute that it's not videos, so it's not something related to YouTube. If we're ready to be optimistic, potentially it could be the start of something, be it group therapy, be it the counselling, be it the whatever. I don't know if even I can stretch to that kind of optimism, but I'd hope, I wish, I pray, my hopeful little heart wants that to be the case.
There's nothing wrong. It's not drugs.
That'd be ridiculous.
Well, weed, yeah.
Yeah, weed, of course. It's only the weed. Definitely only the weed for the third time this live stream. Definitely only the weed. No, don't look behind the curtain.
See, my pupils.
Oh! Are your pupils a reasonable confirmation of you being under the influence of something else now? Because when people were pointing out in ways you didn't like, it wasn't reliable. And you still had stuff in your system, and THC and cannabis, which you claim to still be doing, enlarged your pupils. So which is it? Are pupils reliable or not reliable? Because you seem very confused. I thought smoking did something to your pupils. So what were you on before when you said that the smoking was doing that to your pupils? Please do tell us, I'm interested.
Do share. No, I'm not sharing.
I'm not sharing, but ask me.
It's nothing exciting, but it's like, you know, like when you start working on something you say you're gonna do, and then you start working on something and then you kind of like anxious to get back to it. Just working on things.
Yeah, but you know, guys, I deserve to have a private life. Stop asking.
I think I'll feel good once I get back in the swing of videos and stuff too.
Which is never.
I'm not doing drugs.
You literally told us you were doing drugs. But remember, cannabis in her head doesn't even register as a drug anymore. Like, I'm not doing illegal drugs, which is also questionable, let's face it. But, you know, drugs and legal drugs are different now.
Oh, you mean like previously? Just go film a video and edit it and post it. What else are you doing?
Very, very good question. Thank you, chat member.
I don't know. It's like I just can't bring myself to do anything. It's like once I start to do it, it tickles. I can't. Okay, tickles is like the only way I can explain how the feeling is. I don't know how to explain it.
Can you imagine going into therapy and being like, okay, how do you feel? And she's laughing it off. Like, no, it's so funny, I can only say tickles. Because she doesn't actually want to dip into what she might be feeling. No, I just can't do it. I just can't. But you're managing other things. You can, you don't want to. So what are your feelings there? It tickles.
Just copy other people's ideas. Oh man, this is so boring. I can't be bored when I'm doing something, that's the problem. Not as boring as this. No, I know I'm boring you guys.
She doesn't care that she bores us, she cares that she bores herself. Even though, can we talk for a minute? How derivative her channel was of everyone she watched. Every time Hungry Fat Chick did a mukbang on a certain type of food, she would eat it. Like, was it Red Lobster she did that? Like, and it's okay. I'm not saying she has to be brilliant and unique and original in her videos, and she wasn't. And it's okay to do that. Like, in certain communities, you have certain kinds of videos that people do. And it's the same on her channel. When I do makeup, I did a palette and 3 looks. That's a really common type of video you see in beauty. And just people do it because they watch it, they go, oh, that was cool, I want to try that. Her seafood boil she wanted to do. Her going to Jollibee's because everyone was doing it a year or so ago. Like, yes, you copy people. I'm not blaming you for it. Trends run through videos. Like, but to talk like her channel was so original before, no, it wasn't.
What happened to nothing? PPJ sleeping in her spot. Please don't listen to stupid rumors until you've found them out from me.
We did find that out for, like, the conversation about I'm going to get rid of the cats so I can travel, I'm going to leave them with Pete's, I'm going to do whatever, I'm going to rehome them so that I can live my life free. Like, that did come from you. I don't think that's where her head is right now, but that 100% came from you. Not that she's reliable particularly, but this did not come out of thin air.
I do actually, I'm not bored, like for me.
Oh, catch yourself, did you?
I love coming on here and talking to you guys, I want to do it.
You've come on frequently when you have not wanted to come on at all. And I'm not blaming her for that either. Like, this is supposedly her profession and you don't always feel like going to work in the day. So as much as you can argue, can we call this work? Should we call this work? It's how she earns her money. So when there are days when she's like, oh, I'm not feeling it, I don't blame her. I don't always want to go into work. But to say, no, I'm always super happy to be here, that's not true.
And actually the recorded videos have been boring me a lot more than anything lately. So
you haven't done recorded videos lately, how can they be boring you?
That's why I can't bring myself to do any.
Okay, so you can't bring yourself to do any, so how have they been boring you?
It just feels like I'm talking to myself now.
You are talking to yourself, it's a recorded video. Oh, but this is another point of, yes, you're talking to yourself, but then you're presenting it to a community. The fact that you refuse to engage in anyone but a few members of your community that you trust is entirely on you. Like, that is a you thing, and that is a thing you can fix. You got your community to this point. You can put work into changing it. But the community you have is a result of what you have grown within it.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, recorded vids. It just seems like, does it not seem like a lot of creators are just like, Amber Lynn, are you not doing just, I don't think she's doing just the live streams, right? There's other people too. Okay,
so which is it? You want to be original and do your own thing, or everybody is doing live streams, so what's the big deal, guys? And by everybody, she means Amber Lynn. Like, I mean, lives are easy. Other channels do lives, particularly for members. But if you want to be original and do your own thing. Why are you justifying it with someone else? Well, I don't want to be like everybody else, but everybody else does it, you guys. Why are you complaining to me? That does not track.
Like, if there's anything I hate, although I've been two-faced, but I hate, like...
Okay, so you hate... I'm assuming this story is going to someone being two-faced, so you hate it when people treat you the way you treat them.
Subscribe to a YouTuber you think is your friend. Not anybody you really know. Think your friend. Now listening to their live stream and start talking shit about you.
Who was she talking about here? Like, I'm here for it. It doesn't surprise me at all that her community members are turning on her. There have been a few members of her chat that have gone on to other social media recently. I know Purple Glitter did at some point. And they're coming out of the memberships quite disillusioned. But this sounds very specific. I wonder who was shit-talking her. If anyone knows, put it down below. I want the gossip.
Oh, nice. Fuck you, I'll unsubscribe. I'm just like, what the hell? I guess everyone has an opinion on what's going on, but I just never thought that, you know? I guess I don't do that.
You don't do that? I'm sorry, I'm just remembering when her and Jen threw down. You don't do that?
I guess I'm just not a viewer. There's creators and there's viewers when it comes to YouTube, you know what I mean? And I think that...
And there's both.
Like, creators just kind of try to go by certain... Like, we try not to, like, talk about negative shit that viewers are saying, you know?
Again, I'm remembering when her and Jen threw down. Creators have a code. There is a certain amount between some creators of kind of respect when someone says, oh, so-and-so said this, and maybe you want to be respectful and just be like, well, it's their channel, they get to say what they want, you know? Depending on the issue and the circumstance and the context, there's some of that around. But I want to know who was shit-talking her, what live was that, what's she talking about, I'm interested. I don't follow all the stuff, I just kind of sit here and do my thing, but I'd be interested to know that. All right, everybody, I'm going to leave it here because this has gone on. I still got to edit it down. We'll see pretty soon whatever the mystery thing was. She can't keep a secret to save her own goddamn life, quite literally in a lot of cases. So I am sure we will find it out. But my hope, the best case scenario for that would be the family taking her to some kind of treatment, some kind of meeting, some kind of thing. We'll see. All right, as ever, we'll have to have a look at the next live stream and see where she is. All right, everybody, I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.